Have you ever been in a conversation, and a word, a phrase, an opinion just slips out of your mouth that feels completely alien? It's sharp, maybe a little cruel, or surprisingly cynical. And for a split second you think, who just said that? Or maybe you've looked at someone else, someone you find intensely irritating. Maybe they're arrogant, or lazy, or needy. And you feel this surge of righteous judgment, a deep dislike that feels almost personal. What if I told you that the monster that slips out of your mouth and the monster you see in others are often the exact same thing? What if that darkness isn't something to be defeated, but a lost part of yourself crying out for attention? Today, we are going on a dangerous, necessary, and ultimately liberating journey. We're not just going to talk about the shadow self from Jungian psychology like it's some dry academic concept. No. We are going to learn how to walk into the dark cellar of our own minds, meet what lives there, and integrate its power without letting it burn our entire house down. This is the art of spiritual alchemy. This is how you integrate the shadow without destroying yourself. First, let's get crystal clear on what the shadow actually is. Coined by the legendary Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, the shadow is, in the simplest terms, the unknown dark side of your personality. Think of it as a giant storage locker for all the parts of yourself that you've disowned. These are the pieces your conscious mind, your ego, rejected or repressed because they were seen as unacceptable, shameful, or just inconvenient by your family, your culture, and even yourself. And listen, it's not just the evil stuff like rage, jealousy, and greed. It can also hold incredibly positive traits we were taught to suppress. Think about it. Were you a sensitive little boy who was told, "Boys don't cry"? You learn that your sensitivity is weak, and you shove it into the dark. That beautiful sensitivity doesn't just vanish. It goes into the shadow. Were you an assertive, ambitious, young girl who was called bossy? You learn that to be liked, you have to be agreeable. Your natural leadership, your power, doesn't disappear. It gets exiled to the shadowlands of your psyche. The shadow, then, is a collection of your lost parts. So, the shadow is not inherently evil. It is simply what is unknown and unowned. And because it's unconscious, it doesn't play by the rules of our polite, conscious self, our persona. The persona is the mask we wear for the world. The good employee, the loving partner, the responsible citizen. The shadow is everything we've hidden behind that mask. And the longer we wear the mask and deny what's behind it, the darker, denser, and more volatile the shadow becomes. It doesn't go away. It festers. Hey, so why should we even bother with this? Why not just keep the beast locked in the basement? Because a caged animal is a dangerous one. An unintegrated shadow doesn't just sit there quietly. It projects. And this is one of the most critical ideas in all of psychology, so listen closely. Projection is the unconscious act of seeing our own unacknowledged qualities in other people. It's a defense mechanism. Instead of owning our own stuff, we see it and hate it in someone else. Remember that person who just drives you insane. That colleague you think is a lazy, corner-cutting slob. Ask yourself, in what area of your own life are you terrified of being seen as lazy? Maybe you're a workaholic, and you've so deeply repressed your own need for rest that the very sight of someone else taking it easy feels like a personal attack. You're not just seeing them, you're seeing your own exiled desire for rest, and you despise it. You are projecting your shadow. Or think about the gossip, the person who is endlessly fascinated by the moral scandals of others. They are often unconsciously projecting their own immoral or adventurous impulses that they would never dare act upon. By judging others, they get to vicariously feel the thrill of the taboo while reinforcing their own righteous persona. They're dancing with their own shadow but pretending it's someone else's music. This is a game we all play. But here's what most people don't get, and this is where the real danger begins. The goal of this work isn't just to see the shadow. Just seeing it can be the first step to destruction if you handle it wrong. The goal is integration. And integration is an alchemical process of transformation, not a hostile takeover. When people first encounter their shadow, they make one of two critical mistakes. The first mistake is identification. You discover your repressed anger, the rage you've bottled up for years. At first, it's liberating. You start setting boundaries, but then you identify with it. You become the anger. You turn into a bitter, aggressive person, justifying your cruelty as being authentic. You haven't integrated the shadow. You've let it die possess you. You've just traded the mask of the persona for the mask of the shadow, and one mask is as false as the other. You've just swapped cages. The second mistake is spiritual bypassing. This is using spiritual ideas to avoid the messy, painful work of shadow integration. It's the good vibes only sticker slapped over a cracked engine. It's the person who says, I only focus on positive vibrations, or I'm too evolved for anger. They glimpse their own darkness, feel its pull, and then retreat into a fortress of fake enlightened platitudes. They are using light to blind themselves to their own darkness, which only makes the shadow more powerful and cunning. So, if we can't ignore it, and we can't let it take over, what the hell do we do? How do we walk this razor's edge? This brings us to the practical alchemical art of safe integration. This is a slow, courageous process. It's not a weekend workshop. It is the work of a lifetime. Step 1. Acknowledge and observe. This is the stage of the mirror. Your primary tool here is radical self-honesty, and your guide is your own projections. For the next week, I want you to literally carry a small notebook or use a notes app. Title it The Mirror. Every time you feel a strong emotional reaction to someone, positive or negative, write it down. If someone's arrogance infuriates you, write arrogance. If you secretly admire someone's carefree attitude, write carefree. Don't judge. Don't analyze. Just observe. At the end of the week, look at your list. This list is not a catalog of other people's flaws. It is a map of your own shadowland. These are the energies living inside you, unacknowledged. The person whose arrogance annoys you might be reflecting your own repressed ambition, or a secret fear of taking up space. Maybe you were taught that being humble is a virtue, so you exiled the part of you that wants to stand up and say, hey, I'm good at this. This first step is all about withdrawing your projections. It's about taking your power back from the world and realizing that the drama you see out there is often a play being staged by your own inner world. Every time you catch yourself in that moment of intense judgment, you have to learn to pause and ask the terrifying, liberating question. What part of myself am I seeing in this person right now? This is the beginning of ownership. This is the beginning of ownership. This leads us to step 2, the dialogue. Once you've identified a shadow aspect, let's use fear for example, you can't just stare at it. You have to engage with it. This is where Jung's technique of active imagination comes in. It's essentially a waking dream, a conscious conversation with the unconscious parts of yourself. You are not trying to kill the dragon. You are trying to ask it why it's breathing fire. Find a quiet space. Close your eyes. Bring that quality to mind. Let's say it's your repressed laziness that you projected onto your colleague. Give it a form. What does it look like? A tired old man? A rebellious teenager? A blob of molasses? Don't force it. Let the image arise. Then, begin a dialogue. You can do this in your head. Or, even more powerfully, write it out like a script in your journal. You might ask, why are you here? What do you want from me? What are you afraid of? And the answers might shock you. Your laziness might tell you, I'm not laziness. I am your need for rest. You've been running on empty for a decade, and I am the emergency brake. I am here to save you from burnout. Your anger might say, I am your boundary. I am the energy you need to protect yourself. And you keep silencing me every time someone walks all over you. Nasi, Nunda, Naraigon, Yodo Su. This dialogue is not about agreeing with the shadow or letting it win. It's about understanding. It's about treating this disowned part of you not as an enemy, but as a lost, powerful piece of your own being that has a message for you. You're moving from a state of war to a state of curiosity, and that shift changes everything. But here is the crucial checkpoint, the point where this journey can turn from healing to harm. Step 3. Compassionate acceptance, not condoning. This distinction will save your life. Accepting your shadow does not mean giving it a free pass to drive the car. Accepting you have a deep well of rage does not mean you have the right to scream at your family. Accepting you have a shadow of envy does not mean you should sabotage your friend's success. Acceptance is simply acknowledging the reality of the energy inside you. I see you. I feel you. I understand you are part of me. Condoning is acting that energy out indiscriminately. The unintegrated person is a slave to the shadow, acting it out unconsciously. The person who has identified with the shadow acts it out consciously and calls it freedom. But the integrated person feels the energy, understands its message, and then chooses a conscious, constructive action. Think of it like this. Your shadow is a wild horse. Ignoring it means it will eventually kick down the stable door and trample your village. Identifying with it means you leap on its back with no saddle or reins and let it run wild until it throws you off a cliff. Integration is learning to approach the horse, to understand it, earn its trust, and finally, to put a saddle on it. You don't break its spirit, you partner with its power. You are the rider, deciding where that immense energy will be directed. This leads us to the most beautiful and creative part of the process. Step 4. The alchemical transformation, finding the gold in the dark. Every single shadow trait, no matter how ugly it seems, contains a nugget of gold. It is raw, unrefined energy that, once consciously integrated, becomes a source of incredible power and vitality. Your job as the alchemist of your own soul is to find that gold. Let's go back to our examples. The gold in Inwardrash is not violence, it's passion. It's the energy to say no to injustice. It is the fire that fuels the activist, the artist, the protector. An integrated person doesn't suppress their anger. They channel it into fighting for a cause, setting firm boundaries, or creating powerful art. The gold in Wanka Fury is not cowardice, it's wisdom. It's the gift of intuition, of prudence, of seeing potential dangers and planning for them. An integrated person doesn't let fear paralyze them. They listen to its whispers as a wise counsel. It helps them prepare, to be cautious, to be sensitive to the world around them. The gold in your envy is not malice, it's desire. Envy is a giant signpost. It points directly to what you long for but don't believe you can have. Instead of wanting to tear the other person down, the integrated person asks, what is it about their life that I desire? Their freedom? Their creativity? Their discipline? Envy, once owned, becomes a powerful motivator for your own growth. It clarifies your ambition. This is the heart of the work. You don't destroy the shadow. You don't indulge it. You redeem it. You ask it what it needs, you accept its existence, and then you find its hidden gift and put it to conscious use in your life. This is what it means to become whole. Finally, step 5, conscious embodiment. This is where the inner work becomes outer reality. It's not enough to have these insights in your journal. You have to live them. This is a slow, often clumsy process of taking small, courageous steps. The former people-pleaser who has integrated their selfish shadow might, for the first time, say, "No, I can't help with that project. I need to protect my time this weekend." They might say it with a trembling voice, feeling immense guilt, but the hyper-rational person who has integrated their emotional shadow might schedule 30 minutes just to listen to music that moves them, or risk telling a friend, "I'm feeling really sad today," instead of bottling it up. This is an ongoing dance. You will never be done with your shadow. As you grow, your shadow evolves with you. New aspects get pushed into the darkness as you build a new persona. The journey into the underworld is not a one-time trip. It's a path you learn to walk for the rest of your life. But with time, it becomes less terrifying and more familiar. You learn to greet the figures in the dark as lost parts of yourself, finally coming home. So, let's bring this all together. Integrating your shadow without destroying yourself is a sacred alchemical art. It begins not with war, but with observation, seeing your projections in the world. It continues with dialogon, speaking to these lost parts to understand their needs. It hinges on the crucial distinction between compassionate acceptancy and reckless condoning. The real magic happens when you find the gold within the dark, transforming raw energy into conscious power. And finally, you bring this wholeness into the world through small, consistent, embodied day actions. This path is not for the faint of heart. It demands courage, honesty, and deep compassion for yourself. But the reward is nothing less than wholeness. It is the end of self-sabotage, the healing of projection, and the discovery of a depth and power within you that you never knew you possessed. You stop being a house divided against itself and become an integrated human being, light, dark, and everything in between. If this journey into the shadow resonates with you and you want to go deeper, make sure you subscribe for more. In the next video, we'll explore the next stage of this journey, the anima and animus, the mysterious inner feminine and masculine that shape all of our relationships and our destiny. I'll leave you with this question. What is one quality you consistently find irritating or judgmental about in other people? And what hidden gold, what secret message might that part of your shadow hold for you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.